Welcome to Story by Olivia. Today I am going to tell you the movie story called The Invisible Girl. In this movie, we are shown that one day an asteroid hits the Earth, and a piece of it falls in the house of a family, due to which all the people of that family get a different superpower. And this power works only when all the people live together. So let's get started. In the beginning of the movie, we show meteoroids that are coming rapidly towards the world. It can collapse any time with the Earth. Then the scene shifts, in which we are introduced to a boy named Owl, who is standing in the sea on a boat. He has to carry the luggage on a boat, but his ship couldn't carry the heavy load of 1 ton. Rather, it could only take 600 kilograms. But he takes the luggage by deceptively claiming to the owner of the small boat that the weight of the luggage is only 600 kilograms. Consequently, he pays a heavy price when all of his luggage sinks into the water along with the ship. By all means, All and the owner manage to be at the beach. For the loss, All has to give money to the ship owner. He was already bankrupt and had nothing to do but exchange his car with the owner of the ship. Hence, he visits the bank, where he meets Svetlana, his childhood friend. She works here as a cashier, and Owl needed a bank loan. Svetlana is astonished at the huge amount of the loan, which was $1 million. She added further that no bank could give him such a heavy amount without reliable security. Owl turns into sadness. Svetlana asks him to meet his father at home so he might help him. She wants to help him because they have both been friends since childhood. She later sits in his old, bumpy car and drives towards her house. We are introduced to the large family of Svetlana. Everyone in this extended family has ambitious dreams. As her father, he wished everyone to live together. Her elder sister wants to be an artist. Her brother wants to join the army, but he is a patient with asthma, and he has always been rejected by the army in physical tests. Her younger sister wanted to be young so that she could do everything, as the elder children of her age do so. Later on, Owl discusses her trouble with her father and appeals for his help. Further, he offers him a commission for this very purpose. But her father rejects and insults him too, and he leaves after this. We further perceive that the meteoroid is coming rapidly closer to Earth. It collapses at Svetlana's house and makes a massive hole in the floor. All of them start to rush outside. Later, they observe that meteoroids are falling everywhere in the city. Suddenly, they get to know that they have left their father inside, and they all rush towards him to save him. Later, they get him out. Owl later suggests putting out the meteoroid so they can sell it on the market and earn money from it. They all agree with his suggestion. They started to dig out the meteoroid, but they could not find it. They got exhausted and went to sleep. But Owl doesn't lose hope, as he is indebted. Later, he finds the meteoroid and brings it out. At that instant, the grandfather calls him and dies later. He becomes dejected and unaware of how to tell his family. He goes to Svetlana, but she is tired and can't get up. The younger brother of Svetlana appears and informs her that the meteoroid turns into liquid. He added that Dad mistakenly poured that liquid on the floor, which spread everywhere. Here is an amazing fact to be noticed after the sprinkle of a meteoroid, that everyone bestows with a superpower as Svetlana's sister turns into Superman. She can break everything. Her elder sister could fly in the air. While Sutla acquires the ability to disappear, all of them become happy. Later, they became aware of the ability of this superpower, which would work only when they lived together. If they were apart, it would not work. If they want to use this power, they have to live at a distance of 20 meters. Owl takes Svetlana's sisters to the doctor for a checkup if they have any trouble. But the doctor declares that there is nothing to be worried about. They are fine. On coming back home, all were dining together. Later, All comes and suggests that they use their power to earn some money for benefits so that they can be rich. As usual, his father ignores him. Later, the younger brother enters to state his power. He says he could speak to the animals and easily understand what the dog is saying. Meanwhile, we watch Owl, who tries to bend the rod but can't. Everyone except All has power. He feels bad as he finds that meteoroid. Early in the morning, we see Sutlana's father at his toilet. He breathes deeply and gets out of the house. It means he also has the superpower to travel anywhere. Later on, Sutlana takes everyone to the lake. Where everyone practices his owner's power, everyone seems quite happy. Owl suggests robbing the bank. He, at any cost, wants to repay the money to that Don. So he suggested such ideas, but Sutlana rejected them. Owl becomes sad and leaves to sit in the car. Later, Sutlana also accompanies him. Both leave from there. Suddenly, a car stops nearby. A man came out of the car with his bodyguard. He is the same man whose luggage was sunk into the sea by Owl. Owl had promised to take the luggage safely, which he sank, and he promised to return $1 million. He comes near and demands his money, with the threat of selling his organs in China. Owl becomes terrified and appeals for 1 more week. He requests a week. Sutlana, nearby, hears everything and gets ready to rob the bank. In the next scene, Owl and Sutlana came to a bungalow with his father, so his eyes filled with greed and he was ready to rob the bank. But he doesn't agree. Sutlana tried to convince him and started to cry. She further declares that she never demanded anything. This is her first and last wish. After her emotional blackmailing, her father agrees. He comes home and gathers them all to discuss the strategy to rob the bank. Owl said they have to sit only in the car. The rest will be done by Sutlana. She would enter the bank by being invisible, and after looting, she would come back. It was an easy plan. All was alone in the garden to practice his power of lifting without holding, but he had no power. Here, Sutlana comes with holding a cup and being invisible. The next day, all of them wish to present their powers to the public. All rejects them but agrees later as he needs them. They go into a theater and show their power to the director to earn money. In the next scene, we watch as Owl becomes aware of his superpower. He can bring out water from his fingers. All of the family goes to a funeral agent. According to the wishes of their grandfather, his funeral should be good. After that, Owl and Sutlana's sister go for a meal. Some people over there come to tease Owl. Sutlana's sister becomes furious and gives them a lesson. Finally, the time has come to rob the bank. All of them were waiting outside. Sutlana has to do everything because of her power to be invisible. But her dress was still visible, which she removed too. After being invisible, she enters the bank and acknowledges the codes and passwords officially. Later on, police pull their car over, and because of this, their range increases. She becomes visible. According to the condition, they all have to live together. After watching this trouble, Owl comes out to bring everyone together, and Sutlana becomes invisible again. After a while, she came back and sat in the car without money as the police came near them and stopped them one by one. Sutlana's father goes away, and the police come to them, and did not say anything, and sets them free. Well, Sutlana's father called him and said that he doesn't know where he is. Police enter and open the van, and they notice him in the van. On returning home, Owl becomes furious and declares that they are absurd and cannot rob the bank. Sutlana's sister, on hearing that, informs them about her theater show. On hearing this, they all said that they would engage them all in theater and loot the bank. A lot of people come to watch her sister's show. She gets nervous and flies up. Sutlana and all family members go to her to motivate. During this, Don sees All and captures him. His people beat him badly, and he came out of the theater in an injured condition. He insults their family by stating they can't do anything. Whatever power they have, it doesn't matter. They minded, put him in a car, and decided to rob the bank at any cost. They reach the bank, and Suitlin's elder sister flies and enchains the door. Later, the younger one pulls out of the building, and along they bring a truck on the road for the difficulty of the police. After doing this all, the younger one pulls out all the lockers and throws them, because she has the power of Superman. They put the lockers on the car. Later, police appear, but the brother cleverly sends all the dogs towards the police. They all escape. After a while, it's morning, and all of them enjoy being outside the city. Meanwhile, the grandfather declares that it is time for his death and asks them to leave. They all leave, and after a while, the grandfather dies. They all distribute money. After a while, Sutlana says, "It isn't good to leave your grandfather alone." Owl rejects, and Sutlana minds and asks Owl to take his money and leave. Owl goes out angrily, and he gives $1 million to Don. With the remaining money, he was going to another country. He cannot take this money on a flight. He ties that money to his body to save himself from customs. He was waiting outside, and on TV he watched Sutlana's family being arrested by police. Now the question comes to mind, how did the police arrest them? When they went back to that funeral agent, he refused to return his grandfather's dead body. They offer him $1 million, so he agrees, as he suspects and informs the police. After an investigation, police arrested them. Next, Owl appears with an alive grandfather, which means he never dies and is still alive and buried alive. In return for their grandfather, everyone activates and starts using their superpower with tremendous destruction. The elder sister goes towards the judge with a comic scene, and the family acts weirdly. It looks funny and doesn't seem courtesan, but they tried to get out. The police arrived and her sister started to fly. All of them diverted and they ran away. They come to a port, and here we see the Don who was at the start of the movie. He helps Owl, and he sends them in a container to China. The moral lesson is that if we live together with family, we remain strengthened and could fight all troubles. This is the reality of life too. So this is the full story of the Invisible Girl movie. You can also watch the Invisible Boy movie story by clicking on the left for part 1 and the right for part 2. I hope you like the video.